Welcome back, everybody. This is SriChakra, as we like to call ourselves. And the two of us are back here to entertain you for a little longer. This is the second part of our chat show. And as I promised, we are going to lighten this up. But we are going to stay true to the spirit of our activities and our offerings to the world. That isn't going to change. So let me ask you a question, Shri. And Zoom is becoming quite a menace today. So I'll once again turn off my video and I'll keep talking till. Okay, I think it has settled down. My question is, that overall we follow certain rhythms. There is the world, nature. Nature has an overall rhythm.
Yes.
But these are shifting rhythms. If you listen to, say, tala, percussion in Indian classical music, say typically the mridangam.
Yes.
You have a tala framework, right?
Yes.
And within that basic framework, improvises in all possible ways.
Yes.
And he can then shift to another tala and do the same thing.
Yes.
As in, you have a raga malika when you sing a composition and you sing that composition, different verses of it in different ragas.
Yes.
Shifting pretty much as the time of day, the seasons, they shift.
Yes.
And the shifts in nature are very, very subtle and very, very advanced. You see, the sun rose today, but today's sunrise was not like yesterday's sunrise.
Yes.
And yet, within this rhythm, we are having a lot of free flow in our own lives.
Yes.
Because we understand that this rhythm also has a certain free flow in it.
Yes.
Even while sustaining the rhythm.
Yes.
Like overall, you see, even once in 4 years, why do you have a leap year?
Yeah.
Because there are subtle shifts.
Yes.
And which our linearity and our structure cannot accommodate.
Yes.
This time slips past us, past our control, our way of controlling it, and our way of measuring it. So we have to make this correction once in 4 years.
Yes.
Compensate.
Yeah.
If people understand, like I'm sure everybody here understands what a leap year signifies. So that we come back again to, it's like a restorative of the rhythm, the tala.
Yes.
So within each day, how do you manage your schedules? How do you navigate through the seasons? And as you are so tuned into nature and you are thinking of yourself as a forest, how do you tune this into urban living, urban constraints, and the constraints of handling your clients and, having, trying to accommodate all this within this mundane framework which we are constrained by?
Yeah.
Which is essentially man-made. As in, I would say urban, industrial, male-oriented.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Which has become a superimposed structure on all of us, men, women, children.
Yeah.
Even the poor dog who has to get out when the dog walker comes.
Yeah.
So, how do you accommodate this? How do you, your flow and flexibility, how do you work this around this rigid framework?
You frame that so beautiful.
You have to manipulate this rigid framework so that it is less rigid.
You frame that so beautifully, Chakra.
Typical problem that every person has. Every person says, how do I make this work? I have a job. I have these constraints. How do I make this work? And
Yeah.
frankly, I thought that you are the person who, because of your very vast and rich experience with clients over 6 years, as well as with yourself, with 2 children you're raising, and with the
Yeah.
diverse career portfolio that you yourself have, as you have worked in many fields in your life.
Yeah.
So, how do you really do this now at this stage of life and make it work and allow for the maximum abundance on all sides?
Yeah.
So, you tell me, over to you.
Yeah. You framed that so beautifully, Chakra.
Thank you.
So, I think I shared my word of this year, right? I would like to share that in this connection. It has been integrate. Integrate. So for the longest time, I had struggled with schedules, like I would, I don't know, I would draw up schedules and I would really struggle to at least take 70% of the tasks on my to-do list or whatever it is. And that was creating problems within my ecology. It was not working for me. Yeah. So, only this morning I was reflecting, right, on all the activities that I engage in, not necessarily only professional activities, right? Yeah, because professional activities is okay, work with the client, write a couple of social media posts, or design the flyer for the workshop, or create, content for the programs or whatever. So these 5 are the professional work activities. And so, I asked myself, how can I engage in these activities more? And then it struck me how that the nature of that question itself was wrong. It was not, yeah, because, okay, these activities are help me perhaps monetize my skills or whatever, right? But that's not the entire piece. Yeah. I mean, I cannot think of doing these activities, right, I'm not, uh, if I'm not engaging with my other relationships, right? So the support activities which help me in these spaces are like, am I, how am I tending to the relationship with my community, with my sons, with my cat, with everything around me, right? And am I eating properly? Am I breathing properly? Am I moving properly? Am I sleeping properly? Right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then I realized, unless, if I just look as my professional work, or I mean, like what is, can be seen as professional work as separate from this entire ecology, it was not working for me, those to-do lists or whatever. But when I see, as like, am I tending to that relationship with care, or what is this discomfort I'm feeling? Am I, what is happening there when there is curiosity there, play there? I realize that it is becoming more easier. It is becoming more easier. So I think what I am experiencing these days is, of course, those to-do lists or whatever it is, in that very might help, right? But again, they're very linear ways of thinking, right?
Yes.
This is so, because it is not just only these 4 or 5 activities help you establish that identity in the world, right? There is a whole lot of churning the soil which happens, you know. And so when I just brought more context into this, you know, like integrating, literally, you know, not separating, but integrating, or it's like, I don't know, it's like perhaps a light nourishing soup or whatever, right?
One pot meal.
One pot meal. I mean, that metaphor made so much sense to me. And I mean, like, because I know the relationship which I share with my children, with you, with my friends, with my community, all of them come into that moment, right? When I'm working with the clients, or when I'm creating a Facebook post, or when I'm doing. So I have literally been playing with this word integrate, you know, like bringing contexts together and like experiencing that intersteeping of so many contexts, so many, like combining everything. So yeah, so like, you know, I'm a very avid diarist, or I write in my journal. So I reflect very actively in that. Like, and reflecting helps, curiosity helps, bringing more context helps, tending to ecology helps. And so since the past few months, I think that is what is helping me, Chakra.
So you mean you are integrating from different aspects of your life?
Yeah.
The more rigid ones, the more fluid ones, you are somehow, you know, like when you weave something, a fabric, you have a frame, and then you weave the fabric using that frame.
Yeah.
So possibly you are deploying that frame, not separating it from your fabric, but deploying that very frame and weaving your fabric while having that frame operating on its own frequency.
Yeah. That is such a beautiful metaphor. Yes.
You see, the loom, it follows a certain rhythm.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, have a certain pattern in your head, which may be fluid, which may be evolving.
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to present your pattern to that loom.
Yeah.
Feed your pattern to that loom, and that loom has to operate as per what you tell.
Yeah. So, and feeding that,
feeding, tell me.
Yeah, feeding that pattern to the loom also, it is like, it needs a lot of improvisation, right?
Yes, it does.
I mean, okay, you know, I'm feeding this pattern and somewhere the threads are getting tangled, right? Right? Because when you feed a pattern to the loom, it's so many things come into play, right? It's not just the pattern and the loom, or not just the pattern, the loom, and me, right? There is so much of it comes, right? So if there is this entangling happens, now, okay, this is interesting, you know, so what can I do here? Or is there you know, is this the relationship between the pattern and the threads that is causing the entanglement here? Or is this, you know, can I use my body in a different way? What is happening?
This is very interesting. Can I use my body in a different way?
Yeah.
Which means there is potential within you to reprogram.
Yeah, massive attention. Yes, massive attention, massive awareness. You know.
So awareness of all this is a key.
Yes.
Any job you're doing, if you do it mindfully.
Yes.
In its own dimension, it may be going very fast.
Yeah.
Within yourself, you are able to slow that down and see it part by part, thread by thread.
Yeah. Thread by thread.
So that is a certain visualization and reprogramming process within you, which enables you to, like an action replay, which is going on while the action is going on, but the action replay
Yes.
in slow motion within you.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
means you are actually working in 2 frames.
Yes. 2 frames. You nailed it, Chakra. You just got it.
And there
Because
is
that is
meeting
how,
between the
yes.
frames.
Yes. There is this awareness, and then there is this awareness at 2 levels simultaneously happening.
Yes, yes, yes.
And for me, mind is not just here, but the entire body and entire, like what is happening, right? So it's intellectualization, it's like you said, visualization, it's going, just replicating the whole thing, modeling, seeing what is happening there, right?
Modeling, yes, yes. Modeling,
Yeah.
remodeling. And maybe not
Yes.
modeling, maybe not so much with steel as with clay.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very fluid, very not fluid.
At the same time, there is a framework. Like you see, like if you make a say something, one of those images of say of the
Yeah.
or of any god, there is a bamboo frame. There is a straw,
Yes. Yes.
a core made of straw around which you build. So this is exactly
Yes.
how our
Yes.
day goes also. And yet that
Yes.
core also has flexibility in it. That core also
Yes.
has porosity in it. Remember the
Yes.
porous
Yes.
borders I was speaking about, and the elastic borders.
Yes, porous borders. Yes, porous
Elastic
borders,
borders.
elastic
This is
borders,
where we
permeable
are.
borders. Yes.
Permeable, yes, yes. Permeable membrane. Someone had commented yesterday.
Yes, I saw on your
Yes,
post only.
yes.
That's how that
Someone
word
had
stuck in my
commented.
memory.
So there are
Yeah.
so many ways of looking at this, really.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you see, young people feel extremely constrained by this, leave alone the fact, the interpersonal dynamics in a workplace, which are quite another subject. I think all of us have dealt with this. You have dealt with this when you were in a workplace. I have
Yeah.
dealt with this. And basically, a workplace beats you down with the yang energies.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a creative person and you want enough balance with your yin energies, I think
Yeah.
everybody here understands yin and yang.
Yeah.
So I am not going to stereotype this as men, women, male, female. I will go with the way the forces operate. As in the yin
Yeah.
being something fluid, something receptive, and the yang being more dominant and more structured, and the one that tends to follow the linear path.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
when this goes out of balance, and typically in any workplace, I find that there is severe imbalance in this. And we would
Yeah.
be like, when I left my job, I made a statement to somebody who asked me why I left. And I said the primary reason, apart from the fact that, I was not being, why was I not receiving my due? It is because there was no room for tapping my potential over there.
Yes.
With the linearity of approach, they did not know how to utilize my potential. Hence, they were not
Yes.
utilizing it, and hence I was dubbed as underperforming and made to feel irrelevant to the system.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
if the approach had been one of tapping into the maximum creativity,
Yeah.
of running, of making an organization whole or wholesome through these creative processes,
Yeah.
then you see what heals. Something heals. The relationship between
Yes.
employer and employee heals in this process.
Yes. Yes.
And there is room for this freewheeling. This freewheeling part of us comes from the yin part of us, if you ask me.
Yes.
Fluidity. You see, like a woman, she nurtures a fetus inside her.
Yeah.
Months. But is it 9 months countable? There is no timetable. It's not like this day, this time, this fetus is going to say hello and ring the bell like they do in the exam hall.
Yeah.
Time to give up your paper, and the paper is snatched from you. That's not how it happens. There is such a very subtle rhythm that operates here in those what we call approximately 9 months. And so much has happened inside this woman's womb in the course of these 9 months. That is unfathomable to anybody.
Yeah.
It is a doctor, obstetrician, whoever it is. I think maybe the old medicine women came closest to what was actually going on. Somewhere on spirit, when introducing spirit spiral healing, that I have actually mentioned that the nearest I come is to that medicine woman archetype, So I think that actually matters.
Yes.
So basically, once again, it becomes it does the person who offers this doesn't have to be a woman.
Yeah.
There is a certain yin balance here, which is very important to what is happening. You see this?
Yes.
What do you feel about this? How do you think we can introduce this in workplaces to make people, to make creative people more comfortable in their day jobs?
Yeah.
Which they are forced often to do in order to sustain another part of their lives, which is their creative part, which is often not very lucrative, as in musicians and artists. I mean, till we can create a world where that is self-sustaining. You see, I have the same problem also with what I'm offering, and to even to monetize it, to convince people that this energy exchange on this is well worth it, is in itself a challenge. Because that concrete and linear delivery pattern is not there.
Yes. And Chakra, that is what I think, what is happening at the bigger systemic level, right? Like people immediately think in terms of cause and effect, right? Like how you mentioned right at the beginning, what is in it for me, right? Yeah. And so everything has to be quantified, everything has to be put on a spreadsheet, everything that has to fit in an Excel sheet, has to fit in a formula somewhere, right? And that is for the employees who work there, right? Who are sometimes called to these brainstorming sessions or conferences and just told to think creatively. This becomes like a double bind, right? Because they don't have the field to play creatively, right? They're just put into boxes, right? They're
and
just
then told think creatively, and the very concept of creative, there seems to be some severe misunderstanding of what creative is.
Yes.
I'll give you an example, and I am not shy to name the corporate that interviewed me. It was Wipro. And when I went for my job interview, and I got the job, and I got a job, I think, which was much below my actual potential. And thereby hangs another tale, but we will not tell that tale today. We'll save it for another time, because all's good. In the end, everything turns out well. You see, everything has been part of my karma and part of my learning. So I have learned more this way than I would have had I had success in the first shot. So what happens is, what do you like doing? What are your pastimes? What are your hobbies? And I had written over there creative writing.
Yeah.
And the HR person couldn't understand what creative writing was. So can you imagine just what, I mean, they don't even know what creative is. They have no notion of what creative is.
Yeah. No notion of what creative is.
Yes. So he really lost me on that one. Like, I mean, I felt like asking him, I mean, why am I answering questions to such a dumb HR manager?
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly felt it.
Yeah.
Like I would have asked him, you know, he might have asked me, show me a sample of your writing. I'm giving you a word, I'm giving you a topic. Can you write a little bit on it right here in front of me? I'd like to see where your thoughts are going.
He told you that?
No, if he had been the right
Yeah.
HR manager, he would have done
Yes. Yeah. That curiosity
writing.
is
Show
missing.
me a
Yes.
sample of your, you know, writing, as in show it to me right now. As you have said, it is
Yes.
creative writing. How about I
Yeah.
give you a seed of inspiration, create something from it?
Yeah. Yeah.
He could even have given me a word and without judgment. You see, the first thing people do to you is to judge you. And
Yeah.
we programmed to be judged and to mind our P's and Q's, mind what you say in front of that person.
Yeah.
I think that is where we are fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. And so that is, you know, that is
what we say, whether it's in education or it's in the workplace interview. We are told very carefully that, you know, don't say this, don't say that. You know, they coach you, they school you for it. But I personally think you should say exactly what you want. Otherwise, how does that person see exactly who you are?
Yeah. So there is this. I'm also hearing.
Yes.
You
What
know,
are you hearing?
yeah, I'm also hearing, you know, when their young people are trained to say this and not that, or whatever it is, there is this tendency to domesticate someone, right? Whereas,
Domesticate the wild. Yes, yes, yes.
whereas deep within us, we are all wild creatures,
Yes.
right? And you have to rewild yourself. I mean, there is this, you have to stay connected to that wild nature. So that HR guy, you know, whom you were talking, or it's not just the individual, it is just the systems are designed in a way where curiosity is not encouraged, right? Where this meandering is not encouraged. Everyone has to be very...
Meandering is the
Yes.
word. Why is meandering not encouraged? Meandering is where all your ideas come from. This is exactly why all these people who made great discoveries were mostly thrown out of school and thrown out of society.
Yeah. So it's just how the systems are designed, you know. So in this case, chakra, like, I think art, poetry, all forms of creativity, right? Music, whatever. That is what will help nourish this earth, you know, heal this earth at some level. All because that just steps away from the linear ways of thinking.
And this art and poetry should be part of the workplace. It should not be that you wear a suit and you wear your shoes and you look proper and sit in the workplace.
Yeah.
Don't you think our workplaces can have a completely different ambience?
Oh, yeah.
Be a lot more fluid.
How wonderful it would be. You know what, Chakra, even if, you know, you would write the suggestion and put it in a box and the corporates just will just, okay, let us experiment. They would again fit it into a script.
They would, yes. There is always this predetermined narrative and we have to fit whatever you say into that narrative.
Yeah.
And that narrative is so rigid, and that narrative is a sort of hand-me-down that nobody, if you don't want to change that narrative, you see, and that's, you might see practically every post I make on Facebook or, you know, anywhere I speak, this word of that linear narrative, that single narrative, I keep beating that concept up because that concept has beaten up all my life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, just being beaten up by that concept, I had to break out of it. I had to break out of my job and take many risks. And I can tell you that it has not been an easy ride in 25 years.
Yes.
And in the
Yes.
last few years, you know, when you have to cope up with ill health and numerous challenges, the ride has been far from easy. So when I tell people that, okay, spirit spiral healing, it's my mission, it's my passion and my profession.
Yeah.
People sort of stare at me saying that, what profession do you have at 65?
Yeah.
But
See,
then
again, that.
you see, that is again a stereotype, right? Because some people maybe start life at 60 because of whatever constraints or challenges they have. See, we are very fond of making these shares on Facebook. You know, somebody graduated at 90, you know, these sensational stories. But then, are we really looking at a person right in our midst who is actually having a challenge? And have we ever thought of asking that person, oh, what exactly it is? Will you tell us? Will you share your life story with us?
Yeah.
I mean, why is it why is you're not retired and going around the world at 65, but you know, you seem to be working really hard to make something work and to monetize it.
Yes. Yes.
And this can be a challenge where everyone tends to go with the narrative because they feel safe and they don't want to disturb the comfortable.
Yes.
It's because that wildness has been tamed to such a degree that you are afraid of the wild. Or you have a preconceived notion of what adventure is. You work all year, and you take 15 days off and say, I went to that mountain and I climbed that mountain. Then you come back from that mountain and you repeat the same pattern.
Yes.
So what's the point? If that mountain rewilded you and you come back wilder person with a change in you and say, this mountain has taught me that what I'm doing is a kind of change, a kind of shift.
Yes.
But no, you come back from the mountain and you say, sigh, Monday morning, back to the grind. But why?
Yeah.
You should have brought something from that mountain which alters your Monday morning.
Yes.
And if you're passionate about enough about that mountain, maybe you are actually fit to start your own venture and not be in the trap of your Monday morning workplace.
Yes.
So why aren't we pushing these boundaries? Why are we keeping these very rigid boundaries? Why aren't we enabling this permeation?
Yeah.
Bothers me.
You know,
this bothers me. And I'm sure it bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me.
Like your son, for instance, I think he made a radical decision in his life path.
Yeah.
Your older son.
Yeah.
And I think you're proud of him.
Yes.
Not go on the beaten track, but to follow his passion, to do what it takes to follow it.
Yes.
So I believe we can all do this. And okay, there are some compromises. What are those compromises? Are those compromises that big? Do we feel so insecure about letting go of those things that the other alternative might have brought us? Is it really such a big deal that we are giving up? I think it is not, but we have been programmed into that insecurity. Because I hear narrative all the time, stability, security. The earth,
stability, security.
shaking under you. What stability are you looking for? The earth moves all the time.
Yes. Yes.
It's always in motion. The globe is spinning. What exactly is this?
Yes.
So this makes me uncomfortable, you know. Even if you are dropping anchor in the ocean bed, that anchor goes down all that distance. Fluid, and it anchors itself in mud. It is not into concrete.
No.
And you draw it out. As somebody who has been on voyages, you understand this very well.
Yeah.
And I think we have 1 minute and 32 seconds to go. So are we for a third time?
You tell me, Chakra.
If you're up for it, we'll meet again briefly and we'll close this down. We will anchor this vessel at this point.
Sure,
and
sure.
we will come back again in a few minutes and we will set
Yes.
sail, and that will be our third and last chapter. For
yes, yes,
we'll
yes.
do that.
Let us do
I'll
that.
save this
Yeah.
in that case. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, folks.
Okay,
Take
Chakra.
a quick break. We are at port now and we are anchored. So catch you very soon. Bye.
See you soon.